Yeah, I mean, like you said before, definitely a interesting matchup here as far as seeing them already kind of fighting for their tournament life here. Both with some very nice times as far as on the leaderboard. Number 22 on the board is Space Colonizer with a 5:45 set a year ago. Lucha with a number 14 on the board with a 5:34 set about 11 months ago. So both around turning time last year, doing some work. I hope they do some more work here as we go into race number one. Both have the manip set up, both have the razor shield.
Yep, that's what you like to see here. A second drop nuke, that is no good. You want that as your third drop to try and get the nuke to end the room. And vulnerability for Lucha. Spaceco does have a chance to get that drop. He's got the points and he's got the nuke. And this is a tie. Whoo! You love to see it. They both have the same 39 time into collect power-ups. This is great.
Oh, yeah, this is going to be a good one, cards and taps. Looking forward to seeing what the next drop is for these guys. Let's hope we have both orbs right away for these guys.
I don't know about orbs, but hey, orb for Spaceco, a Lucha Gym gets rockets, so two great drops for our runners here. Lucha can ride these rockets for quite a while.
Yeah, I shouldn't have any problem just kind of conserving that ammo, making sure, you're taking down some of the bigger chunks
Ooh,
of enemies
rockets.
here.
Spaceco rockets to finish this up. This could be under 80 seconds here for Spaceco. A couple of these guys are probably going to prevent that. Right on the 80-second mark there. A couple of those foot soldiers being pests there. Lucha Jim takes down the last shrapnel. He's about 6 1/3 seconds back, going in to eat my shrapnel. But more importantly, both runners have the orb.
Into key for Space Colonizer. And yeah, when with the shrapnel, if you see both runners with the orb, it's like pretty straightforward, easy to control. Spreader for Lucia to top that off too.
Yep, Lucha Jim should be fine. Another key for Spaceco. Another spreader for Lucha Jim. Hey, save these spreaders for Mutoy Man, eh?
Yeah, that's always the funny thing. Sometimes you'll get a whole bunch of spreaders through your regular gameplay here, and then by the time you really want to see those in Mutoy, you don't get them. But here we go into Total Carnage spreader, yeah, yet again for Space Colonizer there.
Yep, they both had the same 42.5-second time, so they both kept level pegging. Lucha Jim fighting here, somehow gets back to the middle of the room with the orb intact. That was looking a little dicey there for Lucha Jim. Spaceco doing a good job keeping control of the middle. He's got a nuke if he decides to use it. Wants to give himself a little bit of a breather. Lucha Jim will forget about the nuke. He wants to keep the kill count high, keep control of the middle of the room, and not give up that positioning, because we saw he had some trouble getting back into it, so he wanted to keep the middle. Spaceco dropping his orb, though.
And then he managed to get some rockets, so at least hopefully he'll be able to ride that at the end of the room.
There's Lucha Jim too late. He tried to hold out as long as he could and kind of paid the price there, not able to get the nuke, but he does gain a little bit of time, maybe a half a second. It was 3 minutes flat for Spaceco and 3:06 for Lucha Jim. So Spaceco has half a clip of rockets, should be able to take out the gunners. Lucha Jim does not have a weapon, so his opening drop is going to be critical here.
Yeah, it's one of those things you really want to try to keep this orb healthy, and it's going to be a concern for you at the beginning of this room. Not a concern that Spaceco is going to have. Unfortunately, feet for Spaceco, don't like to see that, but feet for Lucha as well. Neither getting a good drop to open.
Yeah, that's more kind of a problem for Lucha Jim, because now he's gonna have to do some dancing with the gunner, dancing with the foot soldiers. Boy, kept the orb in control, gets the second gunner down. Very good maneuvering there from Lucha Jim to take out both gunners. But he is struggling to keep the control of the middle. They are swarming him. He's trying his best, though. Spaceco gets his orb back, and he gets a nuke. A razor shield for Lucha Jim should help him clear the rest of the room. Wow, what a job.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Lucia was out of here with the 4-1X, maybe like a 420. Then he loses the orb.
Oh no! How can you do that with the razor shield? 418 for Spaceco, and Lucha Jim gonna be bleeding some time here. He's gonna be in the running. He won't have a chance to get the ball buster, but at least he's still in the running as he's 10 seconds back. Spaceco with a chance at the ball buster here. He's gonna have a grenade. He'll go for that opportunity right here, and no, does not get the ball buster. Just missed.
Yeah, really
That's a
tough.
mistake.
Oh,
Lucha
no.
Jim thought he had the swirl picked off, and that's the price he paid right there, gentlemen.
Yeah, that's always rough right there. Goes for it again, still again with the swirl on the board.
But
You
here's
have
a chance, but that's too long. Yeah, it is too long, you guys. And that swirl is still there. He finally takes it off with the invulnerability. But this is what's going to enable Space Co. to establish a lead and maybe extend it with these lobbers. Lucha Jim gets run over again. He's looking for something. It's a lobber. That's something, but the lead is about a 4.5 right now for Space Co.
Yeah, so like both arms are popped.
And gets a spreader, can't die for it, so he'll get some with the extra damage, but he'll have to manual the rest. But he's gotten some manuals in there, so did a good job with what he was given there, Space Co. Lucha Jim with lobbers gets the second arm popped off, but he needs a spreader right now, or Space Co. is going to cruise in game number 1. Oh, and that invulnerability is not going to help. In fact, that could be the writing on the wall right there. There's a lobber, good consistent damage there, but he needs a spreader. Space Co now on final form here. An excellent chance here to take game number 1. Gets run over, should still be able to get to that lobber though, so he's still in good shape to wrap up this game. Lobber for Lucha Jim, trying to get the head popped off, but Space Co just a few shots away from wrapping up game number 1 here. Gonna try for the faster DPS. Lucha Jim caught up nicely, but too little too late. Game number 1 to Space Co.
Yeah.
Wants that spreader. Instead, it's an invulnerability. A 624, that's a solid opener there for Space Colonizer. And yeah, that spreader would have meant a critical damage and the end of the fight right there. So I applaud Lucha Jim for trying that maneuver, just didn't get the right weapon.
Yeah, not quite lining up right. A couple just early early shenanigans there from Mutoid Man. That could have been a much different fight for Lucha, I feel, if things shook out just slightly differently. Some of those early drops and just kind of timing on the grabs and taking a death here or there and the timing on that just kind of spelled a little bit longer, and Space Co was able to pull out a little bit more of that lead and secure this game 1 win.
Yep, it was a 10-second difference, and it turned into a 48-second win. Just the drops favoring Space Colonizer there. I mean, both of them had decent arena gameplay. Not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but it was decent enough that we had a ball game going into the Mutoid Man fight. But Mutoid Man just not letting Lucha Jim back into that one after trailing by 10 seconds. So game number 1 to Space Colonizer. We'll see if Lucha Jim can bounce back here in game number 2.
Yeah, I think Lucha is gonna, remedy what happened. I think like he got some of the priorities wrong in the opener with Mutoid Man there, but it happens to the best of us. Could be nerves. Could be,
Probably. In fact, he just posted in the matchup channel that he says that's the worst I've played in ages. And yeah, that was definitely an off game there from Lucha Jim. I expect him to bounce back in game number 2. So we've got the countdown on both of our runners here. We'll see if Space Colonizer can take a commanding 2-0 lead here, or if Lucha Jim can equalize this and make it a best of 3. Good luck. All right, the runners are underway here. Game number 2, Space Colonizer up 1-0 here. Let's see if Lucha can tie it up. Both have their Razor Shield manipulation on point. All right, we'll get our runners synced up here, and right now it is looking like Lucha Jim has burnt his shield, but firing lane's good. He's got the whole shot, pretty good one at that. So we take a look at the times here. This is a pretty good time for Lucha Jim. It's a high 38, very nicely done. A mid 41, so it's about 2 3/4 of a second lead for Lucha Jim into collect powers. That was a really good Arena 1 there from Lucha Jim.
Yeah, Lucha might have just waken up, said, oh boy,
Well,
that's a bit of a misstep. Still needs to wake up. All right.
Oh,
A
well,
little
he
bit of
does get an
caffeine,
orb.
there, and there's the orb. You know, all's well that ends well, I suppose, in that circumstance, and gets the rockets to share with it. Not too shabby for Lucha.
Very nicely done there. So, yeah, he's just setting up a manipulation there. That's all that was. We wish we could manipulate what weapons we could get here in this game. Otherwise, we would be getting sub 5s all the time. 123 for Lucha Jim has the lead, a pretty good lead at that, but Spaceco does have an orb himself. He'll be 6 seconds back.
And once again,
Ooh,
yeah,
that
we
was
see
close.
both runners with the orb, so that you love to see it. You know, easy to control this room.
That swirl a little bit scary on both sides, but they both have it under control. Lucha Jim able to keep control of the middle, so he should have no problems here with this room. A foot for Lucha Jim can increase his speed. A nuke, that's a time penalty if you grab it. You'd only want to grab it if it's A, the end of the room, or B, you need a breather because you're getting overwhelmed. This should do it for Lucha Jim. Yep, it's a 206, a late Razor Shield that Spaceco can ignore. One more left to go. It's a 211, so he gained a little bit of time on Lucha Jim. It's now about a 5.5 second lead, and he has rockets to start the room as well. So rockets though for Lucha.
Yeah, not the greatest spot up there in the corner, but does well with it. Is working decently, although a couple little close shaves right there for Lucha with the orb, with some of these foot soldiers. You know, this room not as much of a threat as the good old tank trouble is, but still they can get a little wily, and luckily rockets and rockets.
Back to back vitamin R there for Lucha Jim. These rockets could carry him to the end of the room here. He's getting the goods here. He's going to firmly establish this lead coming out because Spaceco really hasn't gotten anything apart from the starting rockets. He won't have a weapon to take with him into tank trouble, but it's a 258 out the door. Fantastic time there for Lucha. A late Razor Shield for Spaceco. He'll utilize it.
Yeah, Lucia was doing a great job trying to min-max the rockets. You know, too many enemies spawned in for him to do that, but you want rockets going into tank trouble. But Lucia played that like very wonderfully.
Yep, it's a 16-second lead for Lucha Jim going into tank trouble. They both have their orbs intact. First drop, gonna be a foot. He can ignore it. It's in a bad spot. Now he can pick it up as he's got the first gunner out, so that'll give him some mobility. But he's got that gunner to tangle with, and he's doing a lot of dancing, but so far so good. But being in the corner is going to keep his kill count limited here. And vulnerability for Spaceco, he can at least ignore the bullets, but nothing really home to write about. This is the typical tank trouble trash, also known as TTTT we're seeing right now.
Oh yeah, some trash, absolutely, and a lot of dancing. Unfortunately, the orb dropped there for Spaceco. Both runners being very aggressive in some really tight situations, and there's the orb drop for Lucha. So ends up with orb drops on both sides, but both really trying to get back to center in some tough situations.
Yeah, Lucha almost got away with it, just got it clipped right there, but he'll have rockets, which should be able to close up the room for him, and it will indeed, using the invulnerability to take out the last of the Mr. Shrapnels. He can use the rockets to take care of the gunners up front. He'll like to see a spreader, then he could take the gunners and get the spreader. Let's see what ends up happening here. He's got one gunner down. He does not have the other gunner down, so this could be a factor. Spaceco still in the running, though.
Yep, and Lucia's using like very nice bank shots with the lobbers and got rid of the gunner there.
Yeah, that was a very nice shot there from Lucha Jim. And we've got grenades. Again, Spaceco can focus on the gunners. Now he'll be looking for some spreaders, some lobbers, and the like. Lucha gets picked off. We'll still be able to get to the lobbers there, but he's got the lead right now by about a 4.5, I'd say. That's rockets there for Spaceco, but he's looking for a spreader. There it is, but unfortunately, that's a player 2 spreader. That's what Aquas and Jackamus would want. But an invulnerability! Oh my word!
Wow.
He's going to take the lead on this. Maybe. It's closer now. We're the same form, and oh man, Trolltoid Hen parking on the rockets, and Lucha Jim got vibrated immediately. Does get the lobbers though, so they both are riding lobbers here. It's going to be close on who's got the lead. It is still a Lucha Jim lead, but they are about a second or so apart. It's anybody's game. Right now, though, the advantage to Spaceco with his lobbers. Lucha needs a weapon. Spaceco missing some shots. They both have lobbers. Final form for Spaceco. Lucha Jim still missing shots. Final form for him. Spaceco gets
the laser.
This could be the opening for Lucha Jim to take this one back. He needs this to avoid being down 2-0 here in this very crucial. It's an empty drop.
Oh, and lobbers on space.
The grenades are enough for Lucha Jim, and he equalizes this game. An important win there for Lucha Jim. Good game though.
Wow, that was a close race. It went back and forth a little bit, but at the very end, we always love seeing it, especially in the booth. We love seeing it that close.
Less than 5 seconds difference, folks. Oh man, back and forth. Those two went on the Mutoy Man fight. But it is Lucha Jim who wins game number 2 and ties up this match at 1 game apiece. There will be no sweep this time, folks. You'll love to see it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You can't really expect that this would have gone. I mean, sometimes the luck has it, and you'll get a sweep in a situation like this. But these two, so close in play, so close to their PBs, and Mutoid, it's that classic. Sometimes it's only it's a frame count. Sometimes it's only a second advantage, that sort of thing. And sometimes it's like a 5-second advantage like we just saw right there, but it really just comes down to, a single good weapon drop, a single empty drop on the other side perhaps, and it just shakes out to who wins that race. Incredibly close between our two runners right here. And we're going tied up into game 3. Love to see it.
Definitely indeed. Now, again, neither player had a clean tank trouble, though, so that's something that I think could be a factor here, is which one of these runners can clean up their tank trouble here and get into that Mutoy Man fight with that lead. I'd like to see both of these runners clean that up, and then we could see some really good times being posted, or we could see some real wild swings with Mutoy Man like we just saw in game number 2, so I think this has a good chance of potentially going the distance here. Let's see what happens. Who's going to win that pivotal game number 3?
And I love that for Lucha too. Lucha bounced back. The first game, you gotta, as a contender, you want to move on from those sour games. You want to just get your head in the next one.
Here we go, folks. They both have their razor shield manipulations. We'll get our runners lined up here so that their times are in sync. And right now, Spaceco, Lucha Jim, hanging around at the right side. There's a new chance for Lucha Jim. He's counted it perfectly. He's going to have the whole shot again, and it's going to be another good time for Lucha Jim. Spaceco going to be a little bit back. It'll be a mid 39 versus a mid 41. It's about a 2, maybe 2.25 second lead for Lucha Jim. So again, very good arena 1 there for Lucha Jim. Spaceco gonna have to be scrambling a little bit here. Let's see what the opening drop is. A first drop orb for Lucha Jim. Spaceco gets rocket. So again, great drops to start.
Yeah, and an orb for space as well. And then a spreader for Lucia. So yeah, these drops are very decent. I would love to see these in a run personally.
Definitely.
Like at any time.
Spaceco was able to complete the Holy Trinity, got the Razor Shield to go with everything else, so he should have a really good time. 116 of excellent time for Lucha Jim. Spaceco gonna have a pretty good time as well. About a 122. I'd say it's about a 5.5 second lead. They both have their orbs, and Lucha gets an open and Razor Shield. This should make this room cakewalk.
I mean, both runners just kind of coasting right now. Some great drops. We saw Spaceco with the rockets and the razors in collect power-ups. Lucha with the razors and rockets here in Eat My Shrapnel. So
he was
easy living.
Lucha Jim, I thought was going to wait too long and having some problems there. Did Lucha Jim getting that last green guy down and almost really bit it there. Lucha Jim gonna have to use the pea shooter to finish off that last one. It'll be a 2-minute flat. So Lucha Jim gave back a little bit of time there because Spacecolonizers cut it to 4 seconds.
Yeah, that's really huge actually. Like just considering how close it is, every second, closer and closer.
Rockets, but Spaceco lost his orb. The grenades sabotaged him. That the foot soldiers were able to come in and steal his orb.
We'll get another rocket drop here, though, so we'll be able to kind of ride out these weapons. This will keep you afloat, as we like to say, with someone who has the orb. Of course, orb and rockets on Lucha's side, but unfortunately, once this dries up for Lucha, really going to be wishing had that orb still. Spreaders will still do it, and there it is.
So he's going to get away with it. He gets a replacement orb. The weapons did carry him, so he'll still be in the running here. Lucha Jim is still going to be in the lead. Ooh, just got the Mr. Shrapnel off in time. A 2:57. Spaceco gets his off just in time. Did lose a little bit of time, but he only lost 2 seconds. He kept it afloat, got his replacement, and now it is time for Taco Bell product placement with Taco Bell.
With Diablo hot sauce.
That's right. So a 6-second lead for Lucha Jim. No weapon for either player to start tank trouble. Opening drop going to be a foot in the worst location Lucha Jim can just ignore it. Gets the first gunner down with some good shooting there. Spaceco gets an invulnerability. At least can, but he loses the orb.
No.
Got a little bit overzealous there. He gets her, and he loses it just as fast. I don't know if the game's going to give him another orb, folks, but this might be the tank trouble that could give Spaceco big trouble, because right now Lucha Jim's getting the weapons. He's keeping control of the middle, and but he loses his orb. So not exactly, like I said, I told you, tank trouble is going to be the room that I think could be a deciding factor here. And right now, even though Lucha Jim dropped his orb, I think it's still Lucha Jim's advantage. He's been playing it better than Spaceco has.
Yeah, Spaceco just getting gunned down by the tank right there as well. Unfortunately, not getting the drops, getting a couple dudes, unfortunately, for the deaths already taken. You don't really want to see that. And the shoes as well, not exactly what you want to see on Spaceco's side. Lucha going to be starting off here. Unfortunately, just a pea shooter deals with that, and then an empty drop.
Well, you can focus on the gunners, but yeah, that empty drop is not what you want to see. And right now, Spaceco does have rockets, which will finish the room for him. So right now, he is 24 seconds back, but he's still in the running again because of that early empty drop for Lucha Jim. Where's the next weapon? It's rockets. Good grab there, at least.
Yeah, Lucha will only be... Oh, and he gets zapped. He hasn't even gotten a form yet. So this is really close, folks.
Yep, there finally is the first arm popping off there. It is anybody's game, but here's a big opportunity for Lucha Jim with this spreader.
And he moves to him.
Wow, this should be 2 forms right here. We could see a glitch toad. But watch out for that bomb, that vine. And we do have a glitch toad. Very nice. Spreader chance for Spaceco.
Going for it.
This is a risk. I don't blame him. Can he get there? Yes.
Bold play by Spaceco. Works out and then goes, gets the manual a little bit, and then goes to lobbers. Nothing wrong with that. Consistent damage.
I
might
love
even
it.
connect this to the grenades if he feels like it.
Yeah, if you don't feel like your manuals are up to snuff, that was a great play right there from Spaceco. And another spreader for him.
Oh my, what a play. It's worked out.
Oh, he will get this too.
Barely.
He could win this. Final form for Lucha Jim, final form for Spaceco. What kind of transfer damage did he get? If he got enough, he's going to steal this one from Lucha Jim.
I think it does. I think the transfer gets it for him here. It does. Wow, Spaceco.
Wow.
And Spaceco comes from behind, erases a 24-second deficit, and is going to win game number 3. Wow. Lucha Jim going to be not all that far back. It's a 6-14 for Spacecolonizer. Lucha Jim, disappointing there. Got a 24-second lead, but Troll Toy Man started him dirty and could just never come back. They'll end up losing by about 11.5 seconds. 6:26. Wow.
And later in the tournament, we're talking like, someone losing with a 6:26. I mean, that's testamentary regarding, the skill at play here.
So Spacecolonizer, even though he didn't have the best of tank troubles, got bailed out by Mutoid RNG, got 2 great spreaders to steal it away from Lucha Jim. And now Lucha Jim, a loss away from being eliminated, which I'm sure a lot of people didn't have on their brackets coming in. But hey, that's Smash TV for you folks.
As we love to say, the great quote, "This is Smash TV." This is the epitome of it right here. It's just kind of rough like that. And Space, like, really, honestly, those are plays that we've seen it not shake out so well. You get an empty drop or something when you take a death like that. Space got some great spreaders there, was able to take advantage of them, and really just, like, pulled ahead themselves with that play right there at the end. So very nicely done on Spaceco's side. Lucha on the ropes. I gotta be honest though, I think maybe a little disappointed in their play so far in some areas. I'm expecting something surprising here. Maybe some aggressive play from Lucha, and I'm thinking maybe actually takes this one and we go to game 5.
Yeah, neither player have played tank trouble particularly well here, which kind of surprises me. You know, these are two runners that are both in the sub 6 club. They both have quite a bit of experience. So the fact that they've really not played tank trouble that well does surprise me here, and I expect that to change. I mean, Lucha Jim dropped the orb about midway through, but Spaceco had some problems in that tank trouble, you know, and he did get bailed out by Mutoy Man RNG, but you can't be relying on that every single game. We'll see if Lucha Jim can bounce back here with his tournament life on the line here. Spaceco looking to wrap it up here in game number 4.
Yeah, it looks like a nuke was on Space's feet, so
Yeah, that's unfortunate there. Not really much you can do about that there. So once again, it's going to be a Lucha hole shot. Won't be a great time. It'll be an upper 40. Upper 42 for Spaceco. It's about a 2.25 second lead for Lucha Jim. So that's pretty comparable from what we have seen so far in this match. Lucha Jim getting the hole shots in the last few games here. They both have an invulnerability to start. Equal opportunity drops. A foot for Spaceco, a nuke for Lucha Jim. Right now, nothing to write home about. A Razor Shield for Spaceco. He'd like to get a weapon to pair up that Razor Shield. We'll see if he gets it. Does get the rockets. Let's see if he gets an orb to complete the Holy Trinity. Nope, it'll be an invulnerability. But Lucha not getting the weapons here. There's more rockets for Spaceco. Another Razor Shield for Lucha Jim.
Yeah, Lucha actually really using that as an offensive weapon, the Razor Shield. Usually just something to allow you to hold the middle. In that collect power-ups, though, if you're not getting anything else, hey, you run that into some walls. You take out some foot soldiers that way, and you hope for the best. Keeps it close, both with spreaders here now to open up. Eat my shrapnel. And there's the ore for both. Wow.
Wow. So equal opportunity drops. You'll love to see it here, but Vitamin R will help Spaceco expedite this room, and more rockets will help him finish the room.
yeah, hopefully some rockets are saved for later on, like in tank trouble.
Hey, Lucha gets some rockets as well, but that room might have been overflowing a little bit on his side. Spaceco's going to have the lead with a 2:08. Lucha Jim 3.5 seconds back with a 2:11, so they're keeping a level here. Very close, but an opening Razor Shield, not the greatest spot.
No.
Spaceco drops his orb early. An early mistake for Spaceco in Total Carnage. This could give Lucha Jim an opening.
Yeah, I think one of those situations where you see a drop that you really want. I mean, Razor's glorious for this room, but it's if you're losing the orb over it, not going to be worth it, especially in a really tough position like that. Lucha ends up getting a little bit of advantage there, gets the rockets too, so keep this room healthy.
Yes.
Keep that orb healthy. Oh boy, that was close.
Spaceco got his orb back, but then got picked off, and now he's going to really find himself behind the 8 ball going into tank trouble. Lucha Jim doing a good job here, cleaning up this room here, keeping control of the middle. Should be closing this room very shortly, and indeed he does. There goes the Mr. Shrapnel. 3:08 for Lucha Jim. Solid time into the bonus room, and he's going to have a substantial lead.
Yeah, and then with the razors, he's using the razors on the shrapnel. That's really smart of Space there. And then it looks like it's going to be a 320, a very high 323 for Space going into secret room.
Yep, 15-second lead for Lucha Jim. No weapon for either player, but no orb, more importantly, for Spacecolonizer, going into a room that he's been struggling with these last couple of games. A foot, nothing to write home about. Lucha just got ignored. Focus on the gunner on the left. Loses his orb early, so if Spaceco can get some weapons here, might have a chance, and gets clubbed down, won't get to that nuke. So Lucha Jim's still gonna have to fuss with this gunner here, but the invulnerability will be enough to take it down. Spaceco can use the invulnerability to focus on the gunners as well as this nuke. So good start. Lucha gets his orb back. Oh, but then gets clubbed down. Could not get that purple shirt, got right into his grill and just took him right down. So once again, tank trouble giving both runners the business here in game number 4.
Yeah, TT had proven again to be just such a menace when it wants to be. You get kind of a rough first drop, and it starts to get those foot soldier spawns on you, the tank spawns. It's a lot to deal with.
Spaceco gets his orb back, so if he can keep it, and Rocket's on the feet. Yes, indeed. Lucha Jim with a 4:39 still has the lead, but look at this. He went from a 15-second deficit to a 4-second deficit and a chance at a ball buster. Spaceco trying to bring this back again, folks.
Full clip of spreads too. Let's see how Space plays this here.
Let's see if he goes for the, he's going to forego the ball buster and go for the extra spreader damage before he gets run over. So maybe a chance here for Lucha with these lobbers here. But a spreader for Spaceco. Another one. And another one. What is going on with these
And he moves toward him. This is wild.
Vulnerability.
He doesn't really even... Oh, now he's going for it, so he has half a clip still.
Wow.
Oh my God.
Patience, this is crazy. This could be, if he gets one more spreader, this could be the fastest Mutoid Man fight on record here, if he gets one more spreader. He needs it on this, never mind, final form, but this is a fast Mutoid Man fight, provided that he doesn't get clipped here by these bullets. This is absolutely crazy. And the gunners are still attached. He's having to do some dodging here. These shots are unbelievable for Spaceco. He's going to wrap this up here. He does. Wow. What a Mutoid Man fight from Spacecolonizer. Unbelievable.
Space has been landing his lobs all night, and that's just exemplifies just how good his movement was with the lobbers in play. That was incredible.
And Lucha Jim is going to be eliminated in 4 games. I mean, unfortunately, his tank trouble was not up to par. And once again, Spaceco getting immaculate RNG on the Mutoid Man fight. He also played tank trouble better as well with what little he was given. So credit to Spaceco where credit's due. He played better in that game number 4 than Lucha Jim did, and he got rewarded with amazing drops in Mutoid Man fight. What a fight. That was absolutely insane. The luck that Spaceco had. What a fight. And if he just got one more spreader, we could have saw the fastest Mutoid Man fight ever. That was crazy.